How I caught my ex trying to cheat on me with everything. When I was 19 years old, I attended a party with a group of friends. I was in this super toxic long-distance relationship at the time, and I found out at this party that said LDR was actively cheating on me. Shattered and scorned, I immediately hooked up with another guy at the party who we will call a J, a 29 male. Jay and I actually hit it off pretty well the next day when we sobered up. I gave him a ride home, he gave me his number, and pretty soon we were dating. In the beginning he was charming, funny, and spent a lot of time telling me how stupid my ex was. What more could a girl in my situation want? We moved in together way too fast. Shortly after I moved in, he lost his job. I started to realize that he was drinking a lot. The honeymoon phase quickly ended as I realized I had just signed a lease with an unemployed alcoholic. He had some serious trauma that he used to justify his behaviors, and I had some serious trauma that made me want to save him. Fast forward 1 year. He still can't keep a job. I'm working 2 to 3 jobs to keep us afloat, and all that time outside the house is keeping me blissfully in denial as his drinking is steadily getting worse. I'm doing all the domestic labor to keep us clean, clothed and fed, because he just doesn't care about those things like I do. In my bones, I knew he was cheating on me, but I had no proof. I was having these insane nightmares of women approaching me in groups and they were all pregnant with his baby. Of course, every time it was brought up, he called me crazy. He let me go through his phone. Where would I even be meeting women? He'd ask me, after another day spent alone in our unkempt apartment. Of course it was all my fault, I never got over my ex cheating, so I was just projecting on him. If you've ever been in a situation where you're desperate to catch someone cheating, you know how literally crazy it can make you. So when he shared a password with me to pay a bill, and casually mentioned that it was the password he used for everything, I made sure to write it down for the future. A few weeks later, during a slow work day, I used the password to sign into his email. He had recently rejoined Facebook and I was just sure that there'd be some nefarious notification that confirmed my rabid suspicions. What I found was so much worse than that. Every single day of our 18-month relationship, this man had been soliciting sex all over the internet. Dating sites, fetish sites, rambling emails propositioning his high school sweetheart whose phone number he had lost. The worst, though, were the Craigslist casual encounters ads. I don't think they exist anymore, but for anyone who doesn't know, there was a whole section of Craigslist dedicated to random hookups. He must have answered every single ad that got posted. Men, women, group stuff, weird kinks, he was apparently up for it all as long as it was with anyone but me. Email after email, I got to read in detail about all the ways I didn't satisfy him. He regularly called me his crazy wife, told the chubby girls that he was seeking that my fit body did nothing for him while I worked 40+ hours in a gym to pay for the phone he was using to chat with them. Email after email, I got to read in detail about all the ways I didn't satisfy him. He regularly called me his crazy wife, told the chubby girls that he was seeking that my fit body did nothing for him while I worked 40+ hours in a gym to pay for the phone he was using to chat with them. The worst of them all, though, was an email chain with a sex worker. Not only did he steal cash from me to pay this woman, but he had arranged to hook up with her in my car the day before my birthday. I remember that day vividly because he had taken the car to a job interview, then come home and cried to me about how embarrassed he was that he wouldn't have the money to buy me a birthday present. I had literally comforted this man, insisted that material things didn't matter to me, all the while his D was probably still wet. I sort of blacked out after reading that one. I asked a coworker to cover for me, drove home and confronted him. He immediately flipped it on me, told me it was entirely my fault, that I didn't try hard enough to be what he wanted or satisfy his needs, that I was so busy all the time, and that he was just trying to get me to leave because he didn't respect me enough to be honest and dump me himself, especially while I was giving him a free ride. I immediately threw everything I could reach into garbage bags and left his ass. All these years later, I still don't think I've fully recovered from all that. But ever since I left, he's been intermittently homeless and in and out of jail, so maybe karma is real at least.